What is up, everybody? Doomwake here. Welcome back to another modern video on the channel. As always, before we continue, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the video. And once again, before we continue, I just want to say huge shout out to all the support on the YouTube channel over the past couple of months ever since Modern Horizons 2 has hit the scene. We just hit the 4,000 subscriber mark, and that is a huge milestone. So thank you very much again. I'm glad that all of you are enjoying the content, and I hope you are enjoying it as much as I am having fun making it for all of you. So today, with that said, we are going to be playing something near and dear to my heart, a deck that I have loved in Modern ever since, what set was this? Is this the Ixalan set? It's, yeah, just Ixalan. Ever since Unclaimed Territory was introduced to the Modern format, and that is Humans. Deck that's been around for quite some time and has always been a really, powerful and consistent strategy within the Modern format. Got a little bit of a boost with MH2 and Imperial Recruiter, and this is a deck that I have played on the channel a couple times before, and, always have a decent amount of success, so we'll see if we can replicate that today. I'm not going to spend too much time with the deck tech because it's fairly straightforward stuff. Bunch of 5-color lands, Horizon Canopies to make sure you don't flood, Champion, Hierarch, and Aether Vial is your powerful 1-drops. You have a lot of aggressive elements with Lieutenant, Mantis Rider. You have some disruptive elements with Thalia, Mentally Mage, and Kitesail Freebooter. Reflector Mage as sort of your removal spell of sorts, and then Image to tie the room together. Sideboard, 4 Sanctifier because it's very, very good against all the Lurrus decks and still good against Burn. Dismember for E-Tron Prowess. Magus of the Moon for Tron, Chalice for the Cascade decks, Gaddock Teague for Control and Tron, Deputy of Detention for mostly Rhinos, but there's also some other niche spots where it comes up, Kataki War's Wage for Urza Saga, Sanctum Prelate for Cascade, and Skyclave when you need some additional removal. So there's not a lot of fancy stuff going on here, so without further ado, let's get into some games. I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 1. Alright, everybody, we are back here for round number 1 of our League with Humans, and we got a land and a vial. Got a Noble Hierarch. Yeah, this hand's fine. I'm going to lead on a Vial. Then we're going to go tick Vial up, Vial and Noble. It's like one of those rare hands that I almost want to lead on Hierarch just so I can turn to Recruiter, but the problem with that line is if you go Hierarch into Recruiter, then you're basically never playing the Vial. So I think you kind of just have to play the Vial on turn 1 here. Even though it does kind of mess with your curve a little bit. I think it is worth it. Burn. Humans versus Burn. Tale as old as time itself. Our hand's not the best in the Burn matchup. Alright, name Human again, pass. It's possible I was supposed to name Illusion and cast Phantasmal Image to try and trade for this, but I think there's a good chance that I can just play Reflector Mage next turn. The second Vial is actually not too bad with the Recruiter, as long as we have time to set all that stuff up. Because it does allow us to, like, sort of double or triple spell that one turn that we get the Recruiter in. Okay, the third Vial, probably not gonna do all that much. The first 2 are okay. The third one is usually the one you don't want. So Rift Bolt, Skewer. So we're at 11 and they have 4 cards. It's not a good spot to be in. Alright, let's tick both of these up. Okay, now what is the plan? What is the plan? Is the plan just Reflector Mage and then Image main phase, bounce both the guides? And then next turn we could maybe Recruiter for Lieutenant? I want to main phase the Image so they can't bolt the Image in response. So let's do that. Let's go Reflector Mage, bounce a guide. And then let's just go main phase this. Bounce the guide. Now, I mean, we're at 11. And then next turn we're going to be able to attack them for 7, put them to 10. This game's going to be close. I think we're probably a dog, but we're not dead yet. Game is still somewhat close. Alright, Eidolon is fine because we don't plan on casting any spells. We have these 2 vials. So we're going to go up to 3 and up to 2. So I can cast 1 spell. So why don't we go Violin, Recruiter. Probably get Lieutenant. Just want to make sure there's nothing else I want to get. I guess I could get another Reflector Mage, or I guess a Phantasmal Image. But I kind of want to keep this Eidolon in play. Like, I think I'm willing to take 2 damage to keep the Eidolon in play. So let's get Lieutenant. Let's cast Thalia. I guess I should Violin Thalia and then cast Lieutenant. It's the same thing either way. Oh, no, it's not. I should have played Lieutenant and then responded. Yeah, I just missed a counter on the Lieutenant. So the way that you want to do this is you always want to go cast the Lieutenant first with the trigger on the stack, vial something in. So if I play the Lieutenant, and then with the ETB trigger on the stack, respond, vial something in, this will get the counter, and this will also get the counter. Now, granted, we're at 9 and we have a Thalia in play, so I think we're good. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have lethal in play. You know, they have 2 Goblin Guides, though. So they can do some chump blocking with Goblin Guides this turn. So yeah, the Lieutenant should have another counter on it. I messed the sequencing up there. Alright, there's a Rift Bolt. And they're choosing not to play any of the Goblin Guides. So they have Searing Blaze. Well, that was a pretty good draw. That should mean we have lethal regardless, right? Even if they kill the Thalia. So they have to fetch for a mountain to kill the Thalia. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 6, 10. Yeah, this is more than enough. Helix me. Alright, get a Lieutenant. So we got game number 1. Okay. Sideboarding against Burn. We'll bring in the Sanctifiers. We'll bring in, I think, the Prelate and the Chalices, but these I'm kind of undecided on. Like, Chalice is decent against Burn, but they have a lot of 2s, and they have a decent amount of 3s with Skewer and Riftbolt. So, Chalice, especially on the draw, is a little awkward sometimes. So I think what I might do is just trim an image. I actually like trimming on Mantis Riders in this matchup. And I think Recruiter's a little bit too slow. I think I'm going to leave the Chalices in the sideboard. I think I like this. And game number 2. I got a 4-lander with a Canopy. I feel like we can do better. Yeah, this is not exactly... I wouldn't call this better. Is this keepable? Maybe? I'm really not even sure. Alright, let's try it. I'm going to put back the image. I don't know, this is a weird hand, but... They kept 7. Maybe I should have kept the first hand. I don't know, just like 4 lands, one of them... I mean, 4 lands, one of them is a Canopy land, so if we have time and start flooding out, we can sack the Canopy land. But you just don't have a lot of time like that in this matchup. You know what I mean? Unless you have Vial. Vial kind of circumvents that a little bit. I think I'm going to lead on Thalia. You just have 2 bolts. Alright, Men 11. They have 3 cards. Thalia resolved. Could have Searing Blaze. That'd be kind of a beat. Interesting. I think we're just going to ignore that vial for now. I almost want to keep the Eidolon in play, but I also kind of just want to use my mana efficiently. So what I can do this turn is go to 9, play the Reflector Mage, and then hopefully I draw a land, which lets me double Freebooter next turn, while they're choked on mana with the Thalia. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's where I want to be. Red, red, white. Helix. Rip apart. Alright, land. Land would be so good here. Okay. Let's cast the Freebooter, see what's up. Eidolon, Bolt, Skewer. Alright, let's take the Skewer, I think. Yeah. Then cast Vial. Attack with the Reflector Mage. They have Eidolon, Rift Bolt in hand. We're at 9. This actually isn't the worst spot. So they're going to go Eidolon, Suspend Rift Bolt. Okay, so we don't know their last card. What do I want to draw here? That one's not the best. This is a tricky spot to be in. So we're both at 9. They have a Rift Bolt on Suspend. What if I just attack with the Freebooter? Leave back the Reflector Mage, don't play anything. So I want to take damage off the Eidolon. They would go to 8. The Rift Bolt resolves, they go to 6. I go to 6. Now we're both at 6. And I need to somehow get 2 more damage through. So I guess maybe that means I should play the Freebooter, because there's not a ton of difference between 7 and 9, with the exception of Boros Charm, but... yeah... okay. So let's do that. Let's go... I think I'm willing to cast one more spell here, because this gets me the extra damage that I need, and also takes a burn spell, potentially. Alright, well they have a Swift Spear. I think this line makes sense to me. So now we go to 4 and they go to 6. But they can't really play the Swift Spear. Because if they play the Swift Spear, they go to 4, we attack them to 2, and then they can't cast any spells. So this is basically a blank. They almost certainly can't cast it. So I think we just need to fade one burn spell, and we might be okay. Sack the Canyon. How different is this if I don't play the Freebooter? The problem with not playing the Freebooter is I don't put them to 4 this turn. I put them to 5, which still means they can cast 2 spells. Alright, they can just attack. I could chump block. Chump blocking actually sounds kind of dope. But if I chump block, they don't go to 4. What if I chump block and attack them for 3? They go to 3, then I go to 2, then they can just cast a spell. But I can chump block again. Yeah, so let's actually do that. Let's go chump block here. And then I think what I'm going to do is in their draw step, Vial again, the Freebooter. I think this makes sense. So we still know about the Swift Spear, which they still can't really cast, right? Because they go to 4. I guess they can chump block the Mage. But now they're locked, right? Because I can Reflector Mage the Swift Spear, go to 2. Yeah, they're just locked out. Unless I'm missing something? So this puts me to 2. Then I can just attack with both. They can't cast spells. I guess the Freebooter attack was kind of irrelevant, but now they're at 1. Now I can just put in a Thalia. Alright, go. Oh, no, this was bad, because I needed a chump blocker. So what I needed to do was cast the, I needed to put the freebooter into play so I could chump block the Eidolon. That's what I needed to do. Yeah, this was bad, because now they just attack. And I have to block. Okay, yeah, I messed up. So what I was supposed to do was put the freebooter into play instead of the Thalia. Yeah, that was bad. Okay, well now they need a land and a 1-mana spell. Yeah, I messed that up. Well, they can't fetch. 1 mana. Suspend Riftbolt. I think we got him. Okay. So, I think I played that game pretty well up until the point where I vowed this into play, and I should have just vowed the freebooter into play, because I needed a chump blocker for the Eidolon, so the Eidolon would stay in play, but once the Eidolon dies, they can just cast any spell. So that's where I messed up. Thankfully, we didn't get punished, but yes, I messed up pretty badly there. But that was kind of a neat little dance, you know, like I actively wanted the Eidolon in play and just like kind of figuring out how much damage to deal, and that was a sweet little game. So I hope you enjoyed the game, and I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 2. Alright everybody, we're here for round number 2 of our Humans League, and what do we got? We got a Vial. It's a 1-lander, but I'm going to keep it. Don't usually mulligan hands that have turn 1 Vial. If we draw land, this hand's basically the nuts. We get to go turn 1 Vial, tick it up to 1, go land, Violent Champion, play Thalia on the play, and that's usually pretty hard to beat. Leyline of Sanctity, this is game 1 by the way. Not sure what that's all about. Luckily this thing doesn't do all that much against us. It does stop Kitesail Freebooter, but that is the only thing that it stops. So, okay, maybe the Glimpse of Tomorrow deck? I don't know if they play main deck Leyline. Alright, well, we didn't draw the land, so no reason to buy on the champion main phase. It's gotta be the Glimpse deck, right? It's gotta be the Glimpse deck. Alright, up to 2 land. Not quite. Alright, so let's cast the Vial. I want to play the Vial before putting in the champion, or before putting in the Thalia, because otherwise we couldn't cast the Vial. Alright, well, we have a Thalia, so hopefully that's good. I mean, if they're playing the Glimpse deck, I assume it's good, because that means they can't Glimpse next turn. Glimpse deck being the Cascade into Glimpse of Tomorrow. Which we did do a video with on the channel, I think it was about 2 weeks ago back at this point. But the long and the short is they're trying to Cascade into Glimpse of Tomorrow after putting a bunch of permanents onto the battlefield, and going again with, like, Goblin Dark Dwellers and generating mana off Omnath, so that's what they're about. Thalia pretty good against them, though. So I ticked this up to 3 because I wanted to either Recruiter or Mantis Rider here, but I was hoping I would draw land so I could just go Recruiter, get Meddling Mage, and then Meddling Mage on Glimpse to kind of seal it up. So now I have to decide if I want to Recruiter for, I guess, a Hierarch? No, because I need to save the Recruiter for an anti-combo piece, so I'm just going to put the Magus Rider into play. And kind of hope that the Thalia is good enough to keep me alive. But this is really all I got, so if they have a Shardless Agent, they can cast a Glimpse. So we'll see what happens. So they can Glimpse for 5. Let's see, is that good enough to kill us? Maybe. We're gonna find out. We are going to find out. Alright, so there's the Glimpse. Okay. That appears that it's going to be enough. Okay. I thought they were going to glimpse into, like, Omnath and stuff. They're just glimpsing into a bunch of baddies. Seems like a little above average for a glimpse for 5. Alright, we're dead. We are dead. Alright, let's bring in Chalice. Let's bring in... I mean, they had two basics that game. One was a basic mountain, but I don't think I want to bring in Magus. Sanctum Prelate, and I think that's it. Sometimes you can bring in Sanctifier against the version that has Dark Dwellers because it shuts that off, but if they're just putting a bunch of fatties into play, I don't think that's where I want to be. Deputy, maybe, but I don't know. If they're putting two fatties into play, Deputy's not going to get them both. I'm actually going to shave a Recruiter because it's just kind of slow. I don't mind trimming a Rider because I want to be a little bit more about... I want to be more focused on the disruption aspect and the aggressive element. The sand has no disruptive elements, but we have a Vial and 2 lands. I think I gotta keep it and just kind of hope I peel off some disruptive moment. We do have a lot of good disruptive 2-drops. Like we have Thalia, we have Meddling Mage. Recruiter might be good enough with this hand because we have the Vial. So if we draw a land, we're gonna have the Vial on 2 by the time we play Recruiter. But seems like they might just have us rolled up on turn 3. I feel like in general this should be a really good matchup because, you know, we just have a lot of good disruptive elements to stop them from doing their thing, but don't have any of those this game, so might be tough. Might be tough. That's a card I probably should have cut, huh? Yeah, I probably should have cut that. Alright, 2 mana 1/1, your turn. I mean, the nice thing about their deck is they definitely can just, you know, cast Glimpse of Tomorrow and do nothing. So their deck has a fail rate, so let's maybe hope they hit their fail rate this game. Because our hand's probably not going to be... Or maybe if they hit one fatty, we can Reflector Mage it. Like if they hit just an Emrakul and we peel a land, we can Mage it. Foundation Breaker. Okay. It's a little annoying. And they're leaving a mana untapped. So I can Reflector Mage the plant, or I can just play another Lieutenant. I kind of want to save Reflector Mage for a potential fatty. So let's just play a Lieutenant. Get the beatdowns going a little bit. I wonder why they shocked. Sure, there's a reason for it. Mystical Dispute, maybe? Maybe they boarded in Dispute. And they were hoping to hit, I guess, a Phantasmal Image? Maybe. I don't know. Or a Meddling Mage, yeah. Because that's a card that they actually care about. So that makes sense if they have Dispute to hold it up for Mage. Looks like maybe they don't have the Cascade spell. I could Dispute my Thalia. Still think I just have to jam it. Because I mean, they're missing a land drop. Even though we kind of assume they have Dispute. It is the card that like is the most disruptive this turn. Even though they seems like they have Dispute. I'm a little bit surprised they boarded in Dispute against the Cavern Vial deck, but maybe they just had enough bad cards to bring out. Could be. Alright, there's the Shardless Agent. Let's see what they hit. Hopefully it's 3 lands and an Emrakul, because I can very easily beat that. Oh, even better. And this is why the Glimpse deck is very high roll. Sometimes that happens. They also paid 2 life. Wonder why. I'm just going to image one of my lieutenants. What's this? Is this another counter spell? Maybe killing one of the lieutenants? Sure. Alright, attack for 5. If they don't block this, both of my lieutenants will be lethal next turn because we have the image. They are going to block. Okay, your turn. I'm still going to save the mages for their fatties. Although mage on agent next turn is lethal. Red mana. What are we casting? Float a red fetch, so I guess they're going to play Bone Crusher Giant? Could always bounce that. It's not going to be lethal, though. Because they can block, they can trade with the Shardless Agent and go to 1. Still think it's my best play. Because if they trade the Shardless Agent here, they then don't have a good target to stomp. I definitely don't want to bounce the Shardless Agent, because then they can recast it and get the Cascade off of it. But bounce this, they trade here, go to 1. And now that they're at 1... Well, unless they jump block here. I guess they could just jump block here, go to 5, stomp this, but then they still need a blocker for this. I think we should be okay. Alright, opponent agrees. Game 3. I like the way I sideboarded. Let's just hope that they... let's hope that they just glimpse into lands and Foundation Breaker again, huh? That is something their deck does. From time to time. Ooh, a Chalice and a Prelate and a Vial. I'm in. This hand's nice. I also don't have to play the Chalice on turn 1. The nice thing about Chalice is you can wait a turn. So, like, for example, if I play Chalice on 1, they get to just slam the Foundation Breaker. Whereas this way, they might breaker the Vial anyways, and then I'm going to play the Chalice, they might not have another breaker for the Chalice. Because, like, if they have breaker, they're almost certainly going to kill the Vial. See? And then we just get to play Chalice. And now they need a second breaker in order to really do anything. And we drew another Vial too, which is pretty good. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Alright, your turn. Let's see what this is. Okay, not a seasoned Pyromancer. I know sometimes these decks have Pyromancer. Wave Sifter. Okay. Let's build their own Divination. That's really expensive. So we're going to go tick that up to 1. I mean, I guess I'm just going to name 0. Just as backup, you never know. Just name 0 again. Maybe that's worse against Fury. No, because if they Fury, then the Chalice is still in play. But now I just get to go Lieutenant Image. As foretold. Okay. Still can't play 0s. I think we should be okay. Alright, so now we're going to do the thing that we talked about last time. Excuse me. So, Lieutenant. And then with the Lieutenant trigger on the stack, we're going to Violent Image to get additional triggers. Copy the Lieutenant. I guess I could have copied the Prelate, but... I wonder if I copy the Prelate, what number I should name on the second one. I honestly probably still 0, but I think this is better. This puts more pressure on them. So, I don't mind this. Alright, if they go to 11, we have lethal next turn. They have to deal with a Prelate and a Chalice. Which I think is probably going to be pretty difficult for them. Alright, opponent agrees. So, yeah, I think in general these matchups are pretty... The Cascade matchups I think are decent, because you have a lot of, like... Their deck is pretty fast and consistent, but as long as you can like put a piece of disruption to play, that usually buys you turn to play the second piece of disruption. And once you have two in play, it's really hard for their deck to interact with both and also interact with and also like make sure that they are doing their game plan. So I think humans is pretty favored against the Cascade decks overall. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the games. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 2. Alrighty, you two back here for round number 3. League with humans 2-0. See if we can keep it going. And opponent reveals to us that they have a Luris, and I think I'm going to keep this. We got a Noble Hierarch, we got some 2-drops, a Recruiter, which is pretty good against most of the Luris decks. Just, you know, and it's clean 2 for 1. Let's lead on Ziggurat. Go Hierarch, probably Freebooter on 2, although maybe they're playing Hammer Time. It's another burn deck? No. Well, I guess it could be burn. It could be the bump in the night. Okay. So, what is my best line here? I believe I want to play Recruiter this turn, and then I can double spell next turn with Freebooter Lieutenant. So, let's get... I think I'm going to get a Thalia. Let's go red, this. Let's get a Thalia. I think Thalia makes the most sense. Because then next turn I can just go Freebooter Thalia the turn after play Lieutenant. Yeah, let's get Thalia. Kind of messes with them the most, I believe. I could get Meddling Mage, but I don't like. I'm gonna be in the dark. I don't know what to name with Meddling Mage. Now this plan kind of gets a little dicey if they play Eidolon, which they don't. You're gonna kill the Hierarch? No, bump me. Alright, I will go to 12. That is fine. So now let's go... Let's just cast the Freebooter first and see what's up. And then we can decide if we want to play Thalia or Mage or Lieutenant. But I do kind of need to double spell here. What I may end up doing is chumping with Recruiter. Depends on what their hand is. Eidolon, Spike, Skewer, Sacred Foundry. Alright, so I think I'm going to take the Lava... No, take the Lava Spike named Skewer, I think. Which makes more sense to name with Mage. I mean, I think I'd rather have them not cast Skewer, so maybe I take the Skewer... and then name Lava Spike. But then if they draw a burn spell for the Freebooter, they can go, like, kill this. Yeah, I think that's worse. So I think I'm just going to take Spike, and then Meddling Mage the Skewer. And not Giant Skewer. Now the question is, do I attack for 2, or do I want to chump block? It's kind of close. I think I'm actually down to attack for 2, given the contents of their hand. A little bit worse if they draw a spell, but... I think there's a good chance they just end up playing Eidolon next turn. And then if they play Eidolon, probably just play Lieutenant. Alright, they drew a Swift Spear. So, yeah, they're just going to play the Eidolon. But they can't attack, so that's good. And now I can just play Lieutenant, maybe? Maybe also play Thalia, just to get more stuff into play. We'll see what we draw. It's like one of those spots where I kind of want to keep the Eidolon in play. Kind of like the last match we played against Burn. Because I think the Eidolon is more detrimental for them. But again, it really depends on what we draw. Alright, opponent's back. Know what happened there. We drew a land. So I can go Thalia plus Lieutenant. I can go Reflector Mage plus Lieutenant. Go to 10. Maybe that's actually the best line. Reflector Mage plus Lieutenant, bounce this thing. Even though I kind of want to keep the Eidolon in play, it also makes their blocks a lot worse. And then I can maybe actually Reflector Mage plus Thalia, and then Lieutenant next turn. Let's actually just do that. Let's go Reflector Mage. Take 2 from the Eidolon. And then, yeah, we're just going to go Mage plus Thalia. And then attack with just the Freebooter, put them to 11. And then they can't play this next turn, then next turn we can just Lieutenant. Let's do it this way. I think I like Thalia because it just cuts them off more spells. I mean, I guess it doesn't really cut them off much because we know they have 2 blanks in their hand with the Skewer and the Eidolon. So maybe there's not much consideration to do that because they're already kind of cut off of a bunch of the cards in their hand. So maybe I'm supposed to just play Lieutenant there and just like give them less draw steps. Although they have 2 blanks, and even if they draw a burn spell this turn, yeah, I don't know, I still think that we're fine. Alright, so no attacks. Let's go Lieutenant. Then we can go attack with everything? I think that's fine. It's a bit of an aggressive attack. They have something, but they didn't have anything. Alright, game 2. Against Burn, I think we're going to do the same thing we did the last time. Sanctifier. I think I'm going to leave the Chalice and the Prelates at home. So I think it's just Sanctifier. Is that... we didn't do anything else last time, did we? I don't think so. So, minus 2 Mantis Riders, minus a Recruiter, and minus an Image. Just kind of trim the curve a little bit. And Image is one of the weaker cards just because they have a lot of ways to kill, you know, interact with your creatures. And Image is better in the post-board games when you have Sanctifier, but it's still one of the... without Sanctifier, it's a bit of a risky proposition sometimes. Alrighty, back here for game number 2. This is a 4-lander, but we do have Sanctifier and Vial, so I think I'm okay with keeping this. Like, again, as I said before, the 4-landers that have Canopy are okay because you can sack the Canopy, and the Vial allows you to be able to sack the Canopy and, like, not time walk yourself that one turn. So I think it's okay. I'm just going to lead on this, naming Human, play a Vial, and pass. Is this an Eidolon? Goblin Guide. Goblin Guide, reveal, Cavern. Alright, we'll take up the Vial. That was a really good draw. Name Human, play Sanctifier. Although I don't plan on blocking with the Goblin Guide, or I don't plan on blocking with the Champion, but it does give me the opportunity if maybe they have Path to Exile or something like that. Pirate Spellbomb. Searing Blaze the Champion. Okay. Champion down. We're going to take up the Vial to 2. We're going to play... I think I'm just going to Thalia Freebooter, but I want to put the Thalia into play first so they can't have a Bolton response. And then go with the Freebooter. See what their hand is. Bolt, Bolt, Crypt. I'll take a Bolt. Question is, do I attack with the Sanctifier? Interesting question. 15... 3, 6, 8... No, I'm going to leave it back. Because I think they kind of have to bolt the Thalia. And if I attack with Sanctifier, they just get the bolt Thalia and get a free attack. And I don't think the 2 damage matters all that much. I think my clock is mostly the same, with or without the 2 damage. Is this an Eidolon? Sure. Don't plan on casting many more spells anyways. I'm gonna leave this on 2. Alright, let's crack the canopy off of Cavern in case I draw Image. Alright, so we don't have any of the cards in their hand. Question is, do I want to cast a spell this turn? I don't think I do. So why don't we just attack with both of these? And then we can Violin Lieutenant. Alright, opponent takes 6, they go to 9. We're both at 9, they have an Eidolon. I have a 2-3 that's set back to block both of their things. And they just cast an Eidolon. Okay. Don't they just kind of lock themselves out now? Like, I just don't have to cast any more spells, right? I just attack with the Freebooter and chill. Now they go to 5. I guess I'll put in the Meddling Mage and name... I don't know, Bump? It's a card that they haven't cast any of yet. I don't know if it matters, but... Yeah, I mean, they're at 5, and I have a 2-3 flyer, and there's 2 Eidolons, so they're just locked out of casting spells. I mean, unless they suicide their Eidolons, I guess, but... I'm also at 9, and they only have 1 card, which means they can't kill me in 2 cards. So... Oh yeah, they're just dead, right? 5 them. Yeah. Alright, 5 ya. It was an interesting game. I mean, I guess that's kind of how the burn matchup goes, is they just lock themselves under their own Eidolon, because that's the second time that's happened. But anyways, 3-0, that's pretty cool. Hope you enjoyed the games. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 4. Alrighty, YouTube, round number 4. Opponent reveals Gigantha. I mean, our hand's good, but I hope they're not playing Tron. Humans versus Tron, huh? Gigantha usually means Tron. The Tron matchup, I think, is not great for humans. Our hand's good, but I don't know. It's just Tron. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. But yeah, turn 1 Vial, we got a Meddling Mage, maybe for one of their sweepers, like O-Stone or Ugin, depending on what happens, like how the game plays out. Got a little aggression with Mantis Rider, Lieutenant, I don't know. I mean, our hand's okay, but... Opponent seems to be mulliganing a bunch, which makes it even more likely they're playing Tron. Oh, they're only on 6. Okay, they stayed on 6. And Urza's Tower. Yeah, same thing. Urza's Power Plant. Alright, let's go Human. I got a Vial. Your turn. Be gentle, opponent. Be gentle. Ancient Stirrings. Alright, I got a Mine. Play the Mine. And... Expedition Map. So it's a question of what do we want to name. I think we just have to name Oblivion Stone. It feels rough no matter what I do. Yeah, I'm just gonna name O-Stone. It's the card that they usually play. It's the sweeper that they play the most copies of. So I think it's the one that makes the most sense. Because Ugin, they usually only play 1, maybe 2 copies. Karn Liberated, it's annoying, but it's, you know, it's more manageable than a sweeper like Oblivion Stone or Ugin. So, I think you just always have to name the sweepers, and I think you just want to start with the one that they have more copies of. And then if you draw more, you know, more Meddling Mages down the line, then you can name something else. Our turn's pretty scripted here. We're going to go Mantis Rider... And Lieutenant. Attack for 7. They go to 13. I mean, we have lethal next turn. Right? 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's only 12? Or one short. Right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we need to find a human. Now we gotta be a little bit worried about Ugin. Alright, they do have the Worm Coil. Which means we can now not attack. Reflector Mage is lethal. So we got that going for us. I'm gonna respond to the Vile Trigger and sack the Campy to give me more information on whether I want to tick this up. Well, there we go. Alright, well, so much for the Tron matchup being bad, huh? We'll even do it the correct way. Trigger on the stack. Violent Reflector Mage. And that should be lethal damage. I think it's Exacxies. Looks like 13 to me. Alright, game number 2. We got some Magus of the Moons. Gaddock Teague shuts off All Is Dust and Ugin and Karn, so I think it's good. Kataki, Prelate, Skyclave, Deputy, probably. Then we'll go maybe Trim on Recruiter because it's kind of slow. Trim on Reflector Mage, Trim on Image. Just doing some trimming. And then just another Image. Image is kind of okay against Wormcoil Engine, but even if you make that trade, I don't even think you're in that favorable of a position. Like if you just trade off the Wormcoils, they gain 6 life, and your life total for the most part doesn't matter, but them gaining 6 is just kind of not where you want to be. It is decent to copy Meddling Mage to name more sweepers, copy a Freebooter in their draw step or something like that, or maybe even a second Magus to play around Dismember, but I think I like this for the most part. I like keeping all the riders because you do want to be as aggressive as possible in this matchup. Maybe cutting more recruiters is good, especially on the draw, because they're kind of slow. Not sure. You could maybe sell me on that. Alright, game number 2. The nice thing about this is even if we lose this game, we're guaranteed at least one game on the play. And that's your best chance against Tron. We lost the die roll, right? We were on the draw that game? Let me just double check. I think we were. Yep, I was in the draw. Cool. And this hand is really aggressive, so I think I'm down to keep it. It's not the most disruptive, but we get to go champion into probably Meddling Mage, and then we can go champion Mage on 3. Yeah, I think I'm gonna play. We'll see what we draw, but I think I'm gonna play the Mage next turn. Given the context of my hand, I might just name Wormcoil Engine because my hand is pretty weak to it. I don't have a Reflector Mage right now. And if they play Karn, it's kind of tough. So they played the Mine. Do I name Karn or do I name Wormcoil? I think it's one of those two. Because I could also still just name Oblivion Stone. My hand's going to have a very hard time beating a Wormcoil, though. I'm just going to name Wormcoil. Not sure if that's correct. But given how, I don't have any flyers, I don't have any Reflector Mages, so I think that makes sense to me, even though it's not the best. See what they got. Green, colorless. What's this? Thragtusk. Thragtusk, huh? Okay. Interesting. The card I want to draw. Freebooter is not terrible. So now we can just go champion freebooter, let this trade happen, I think. Because I think we just kind of have to accept that this trade's going to be a thing. Guess we can see what they have in their hand, but... Alright, Wormcoil, Sylvan, Scrying, X. Alright, we'll take Scrying, leave them with a Wormcoil and a Mine. Four, five, six. Well, I guess I can just wait a turn, right? Because we're going to play Lieutenant next turn, and then it's going to be out of range. So we can. I think we can wait a turn. It's not like they're attacking anyways, so... Alright, we're back. Opponent played Karn, and down-ticked on Meddling Mage, and their last card is Wormcoil. Okay, well, good news is we have a second Meddling Mage. So, what I'm going to do is I have to play this regardless. So, let's start with that. So I need to stop them from casting the Wormcoil. Do that, and then we'll just play the Vial, I think. And then I can send both of these at Karn. I guess maybe that was worse than playing the Noble, because if I play the Noble, this thing can't trade. Although they just trade with the bigger champion, and then this one grows outside of range anyways. But I guess they end up just trading... They trade with this one, I get to keep the bigger one. So yeah, maybe that was worse than playing Hierarch. Probably was. I guess they're going to get Blast Zone here, which is not great for me. Because we have 2 2s and 2 1s, so they probably just Blast Zone on 2. Yeah. We need to find a Magus of the Moon. That is what we need to find. Three mana. Is there an O-Stone? I guess they could just be putting Gigantha in their hand. 2 mana. Expedition Map. Okay. Yep. And they're going to hold up the activation of Blast Zone, which they're going to likely tick up to 2 this turn. So Magus would be a nice draw. It's kind of like a Magus. The only thing is... It's going to be a little too late to the party, because next turn they can just go sack Blast Zone and then cast Wormcoil Engine. So that probably has to get a Reflector Mage. Right? So we can go cast Recruiter, cast Hierarch, attack with the champion. Or maybe there's a world where I bait the Blast Zone. And they just pop the Blast Zone. This is tough. No, let's just get the let's just get Reflector Mage. I mean, the thing is, they might just pop the Blast Zone on 1, right? Like, if I do this and only attack with the champion, they might just sack it on 1. But I guess maybe that's okay for me? If they pop it on 1? Because then they still can't play the Wormcoil. But maybe they're going to do that. We'll see. I'm fine to throw a Noble Hierarch into the Wolves, though. Oh, so they are going to pop it on 1, which I think is kind of okay for me. Because that means we don't have a Wormcoil to deal with. So I'll take that. I accept. They drew another Thragtusk, and that was their draw step. They didn't have that in their hand. So that's, I guess, pretty good for them. It's a pretty fortunate draw step. And now if I Reflector Mage the Thragtusk, it's all bad for me. I guess we just gotta slog through it. This is gonna be a tough game. This is going to be a tough game, because now they can just attack for 8 and play a Giganta. Yeah. Wonder if I had a better line this game. I just didn't expect them to sack the zone on 1. I really thought they were, gonna play the Wormcoil engine. And, like, I put myself into a spot where I kind of gave them maybe a little bit too much value off of the Blast Zone for 1. But if it meant them not casting Wormcoil, I thought that was good for me. Like, I think this game's a lot easier if they don't draw exactly Thragtusk. Although I guess they had a lot of other draw steps, but... I'm sure whatever this is I can't beat. Okay, you win. Alright, going to game 3 against Tron. Let's see what we got. Game number 3, Mono Green Tron. Let's see what we got. We're not playing Tron. Trust me. You will never catch me playing Tron. Okay. I can work with this hand. I think I'm gonna lean on Horizon Canopy. My left total just doesn't matter. There's like some weird chance where I want to name Illusion with this. I doubt it, but you never know. My life total is irrelevant. Chromatic Star. So now we can go name human, black this, freebooter you. Alright, they kept the hand without Tron. I like to see that. Forest, Karn, Nature's Claim, O-Stone, Tower, Wormcoil. Wormcoil doesn't matter because we have 2 Reflector Mages. I guess I'm just gonna take the Karn? The idea being I want them to play out the O-Stone so I can Deputy it. I think that makes sense to me. So let's take the Karn. And if they want to kill the Vial, I think I'm okay with that too. Alright, so their hand is... We took the Karn, so O-Stone, Tower, Forest, Wormcoil, Claim. Played Tower. And they're not popping the Vial. Drew a Meddling Mage. Alright, let's go to attacks. And I think I'm just going to name Oblivion Stone. Because we have the Wormcoil covered 17 different ways. So let's just name Oblivion Stone. So they have O-Stone, Forest, Wormcoil, Nature's Claim. Spatial Contortion. That was their draw step. Let's see if they also find the Tron piece. Knowing Tron players, I assume they will. Alright, they got a Forest and they're playing an O-Stone. Okay, well we have that covered as well. So let's go Cavern on... Human, I guess, doesn't matter. Blue, white, colorless. Deputy the O-Stone. Attack for 2. So they have Wormcoil, Nature's Claim, and some unknown cards. Alright, scrying for Power Plant. Play Power Plant, and... So they don't want to Karn the Great Greater. I guess we're also going to be pretty weak to an Ugin here. Or another O-Stone. Yeah, there's a lot of cards we're pretty weak to. But not a lot we can do. Alright, they put Giganta in their hand. And... Chromatic Sphere. Okay. Chromatic Sphere happens. Let's just tick this up to 3 so I can put in the Reflector Mage EOT. Alright, well, a bunch of bricks. Yeah, our clock is kind of slow, which is really unfortunate. Alright, attack for 2. Yeah, I don't like our spot this game. We just don't have enough of a clock. We're just giving them way too much time. What's this? Drew a Thragtusk. Okay, they're 19. I kind of have to EOT bounce it, even though I don't really want to. Just so I can attack, and then I can bounce the 3/3 with the other Reflector Mage, but then they just have the Worm Coil. I have to get pretty lucky this game. That's where I'm going. Alright, that is not what I needed. I guess I should just... No, actually I'll just cast it. Gonna leave the vial up to give them less information. I'll bounce the beast and attack for 4, but then to 15 they just replay the Thragtusk. Yeah, I mean we're probably dead, but not a lot we could have done this game. I just want our opponent to F6. Alright, Vial's down. Vial is down. Attack for 4. Go to 15. Cast the Worm Coil. They have found the line. Drew a Vial. Okay. I'm off of it. I don't know. I think it's kind of not the greatest matchup for humans, and our draws were very poor. So 3-1. Hope you enjoyed the games, and I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 5. Alright, everybody, we're here for round number 5, Humans League. We are 3-1. Took an unfortunate loss to Mono Green Tron. Let's see if we can bring it back. This hand is fine. We have a curve of Champion into Lieutenant. Not the best of, not the best of curve after the fact. Like, I'd rather have a Thalia on 2, or maybe a Freebooter on 2. But this hand does apply some beatdowns, so it's not too bad. Let's see what our opponent's up to. Tron again, no! Tron again. Alright, I will apply the beatdowns. I mean, having a 3/3 on turn 2 is not too bad. Especially if they're playing Tron, we can just go Rider and slam for, what, 4/9 next turn? It's not bad. And they're not doing anything, so... Yeah, I'm just gonna apply the pressure. Guess they could have, like, a Dismember or Spatial Contortion or something like that, but they didn't have Dismember on 1. They very likely could have Spatial. No Spatial? Just take it all? Well, if they play Worm Coil Engine, they're dead. So, kind of okay with that. Oh, E-Tron. I see. Okay. So they take Reflector Mage and still probably die, because they have to chump block Champion. They don't have any outs, right? Let's do this. Counters here. Go land, Recruiter. It's not lethal. They're gonna 1. I guess I'll just get a Reflector Mage for follow-up. Yeah, so they chump block this, go to 1. I couldn't have killed them, right? Because, yeah, no, I couldn't have killed them. So I guess they could go land all his dust? Like Tron land all his dust? It's their only out, right? Tron land Karn? Yeah, Karn for bridge doesn't get them out of because they have too many cards in hand. Alright, Eldrazi Tron, Kataki no, Sanctifier no, Prelate no, Skyclave probably, Dismember yes, Magus yes, Deputy yes. These are all bad. So these 6 are decent. Not a huge fan of Thalia against E-Tron, especially on the draw. I kind of don't mind cutting this because it's slow. Maybe cut Meddling Mage, like 2 Meddling Mage. And then just have this. How does this curve look? These are 1s. Don't let the Dismember fool you. This curve's a little stuck on 3, but I think all my 3s are pretty good. I want Skyclave to be able to deal with Bridge and Thought-Knot Seer and Karn. I like Magus. I think Deputy is good. I want all my Mages and Riders. Yeah, okay. I'm down with this. Let's go. It's possible that cutting Meddling Mage and, like, cutting all the Thalias and some number of Mages makes me super weak to all his dust. Because, like, Meddling Mage is one of my better answers to all his dust, but... this hand's bad, right? Yeah, this hand's bad. Well, if the first hand was bad, this hand is also bad. But I'm already on 6. Ugh, this hand just doesn't do anything. Like, we have no 1-drop, no 2-drop, Mantis Rider on 3. Ugh. I think I'm going to go to 5. Okay, this is a much better 5. So, on 5, I think I'm going to put back the Vial. And I think I would also like to put back the Lieutenant and just hope that my Hierarch lives. Just keep 2 lands, Hierarch, and 2 3-drops. I mean, the Recruiter's probably a little bit worse than the Lieutenant, and is also... Keeping the Lieutenant's better if they kill my Hierarch, which I kind of have to assume is going to happen. So I feel like this makes the most sense. But I do like this 5 better than the 6. So I am happy with my mulligan decision. Alright, Urza's mine. I got a Noble Hierarch. What you got, opponent? Probably a Dismember. If I had to guess. I think they usually have 2 or 3 after sideboard. I don't remember what most Etron lists have. Alright. The Hierarch has been dismembered. How about an Aether Vial? I think I'm just going to ignore the Vial at this point. Well... I don't really want to play a Naked Lieutenant. Also, if they just have a Spatial Contortion or a Warping Wheel, my Lieutenant just dies. Or another Dismember, so I kind of just don't like letting them use their mana. But now we just get Thought Knot Seared for the Rider. Not in the best spot. Does not help when we mull the 5. I think this matchup should be pretty good for us, but obviously mull the 5 does not help that cause. Basic Plains, huh? Alright, I guess I'll play a 1/1. Name human, your turn. Do not like where this is headed. I think we'll be going to game 3 here pretty shortly. Still raining outside. We are towards the tail end of I guess it was Tropical Storm Henri. I actually chose not to go to a paper tournament today because did not think that the weather conditions would allow it, so decided to stay home. The storm ended up not being too bad, so we did lose power for a little bit earlier today. Alright, we'll go to game 3. Game number 3. I think I like the way I sideboarded. Still not a fan of Thalia. Sanctifier, no. Okay, let's do it. Game 3. Get to be on the play. And we got a Curve and a Magus of the Moon. I'll keep. Curve plus Magus is about as good as you can ask for against Etron. Alright, opponent's on 6. Let's see what they got. Pithing Needle. I'm surprised they brought that in. Well, thankfully I don't have a Vial start, because I think it's the only thing it does. Ooh, this hand's going to be a little bit weak to Ratchet Bomb, I guess, but we're jamming. Definitely did not come here to not jam. Attack for 3. Like, champion into double champion into Magus is just kind of a lot for their deck. I guess they can play a Matter Reshaper. A Warping Whale. Alright, well, I'm going to slam this Magus and understand that I'm not casting a spell for a while, but I think this should be pretty good. Attack for 7 and put them to 10. They can't play anything next turn. Like, even if they have a basic waste, the best they can do is play Matter Reshaper. Yeah, they do have the waste. They got a map. Okay. Alright, attack for 9, put them to 1. Alright, they're at 1. They get to search for, I guess, a thing. Play a creature, and then we have 3 lethal creatures. So, I think we should be good. They're nowhere near casting All Is Dust. They can't cast Dismember. Best they can do is play, I think, a single creature. So, we are good. 4-1. Not bad. Let's go over the deck real quick. Again, this outro is going to be fairly straightforward. Nothing too fancy here. But, yeah, that was Humans in the year 2021. I don't know if Humans is starting to make a comeback. You know, when Imperial Recruiter first came out, I knew that was going to be a pretty big addition for the human strategy, and a lot of people just kind of haven't been playing it. I think part of what makes Humans less good now is, like, Humans really took advantage of Hierarch plus Vial and having this, like, really hyper-efficient curve of multiple spells, and the Darcy Ragavan decks just do that, like, just as good, if not better. You know, they're just frequently casting 2 and 3 spells in the same turn, churning through their deck, and they can very easily keep up with what Humans is doing. So I think that's part of the reason why Humans has been on the downtick. But it's still good. You know, it's still a really powerful, consistent linear strategy, and I guess linear is not the word I'm looking for, but you got a lot of hate pieces, so yeah, it's definitely still a good deck. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video, again, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.